Greetings and hallucinations, and welcome to another fun episode of Photoshop Parties. Yeehaw. Haven't had one for a couple of weeks, thanks to Thanksgiving, and probably going to cut back instead of doing it every week, either move it to every other week or once a month. I'm not sure yet. Kind of running out of ideas for what to put out there for you guys. So,
I got an idea for you for the next meeting, Mike.
okay, what you got?
Symbols. In all the older versions of Photoshop, they'd be part of the text fonts
Mm-hmm.
and you could get them easily. I needed something the other day and I was like, God, this is so difficult. They don't want to load them anymore. So I've got to find them, track them down, and install them. So
So we'll talk about the fonts and
the
text tool.
symbols, all the symbols, all the symbols we used to work with, or let's just say I used to work with quite frequently.
Okay, we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, I run into that sometimes with the fraternities I do. They've got these weird little symbols they have to have with their nicknames or whatever they call themselves.
Wingdings.
Yeah, they're weird little things. Yeah.
Just a reminder, we are recorded, so no comments about their wingdings. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully everybody can see my screen now. I have my Photoshop screen up and running, and you can see the important stuff on there right now.
Yes.
Good. So, June 4th through the 9th, 2023, in 6 months, basically, we're going to have West Coast School at the University of San Diego. We've got a great lineup of instructors, and it looks like it's going to be a fun time. I can't wait for it again. It's like an addiction for me. West Coast School, summer camp for photographers, and a total blast. So if you haven't been, sign up now. If you have been, you're probably already signed up, but you should enjoy the school down there because it is a blast. So close that one. And today's fun is courtesy of Mel Carl. He was nice enough to send me this picture and asked for a quick way to tone the rocks down, how to select the rocks and tone the rocks down. So it should be kind of a couple different ways to do it, but we'll see what we can do to go with it.
Inverse.
So first thing I'm going to do is bring them back up. And what I'm doing to get them full screen is I'm hitting the F key, which gets rid of all the tools and everything on the side. So if you hit F one time, it goes to a dark screen. Hit F a second time, it goes to just the image. Hit F, like in Frank, a third time, and it brings it back to the get-go again. So Command minus makes it smaller. Command plus makes it bigger. Command 0 makes it full screen. So if you're working with images, it's very easy to go with keyboard shortcuts when they work. Sometimes keyboard shortcuts just don't want to work. And I don't know what's going on with Photoshop lately, but I'm going to go to the object selection tool, and I'm going to let it do its thing and see if it will select just the penguins, which I'm hoping it will.
Wouldn't they be subjects?
You can go to select subject or object selection tool, and I let object selection tool do its thing. In the upper left hand corner, you see a little couple of arrows, and it selected basically everything. So if I click on this penguin, it only selects everything but the white. So I'll click on the white area as well, see if it'll select it, and it won't. So I guess I'm not going to use that tool. Hit Command D to deselect, and let's go to select subject, and we're going to go to the cloud, which gives a more detailed version.
Okay. Maybe.
And okay, it's not going to want to play, so let's do this. I'm going to do the lasso tool with the quick selection. There we go. And then I'll hold the shift key to get the white part in again. And now I've got a penguin. He is selected. Cool. Let's select penguin number 2. And did you name these guys, Mel? He's not talking to me. That's okay.
Dennis and Mike.
You're so kind. So now you see we have a selection there, and it looks like it did a pretty good selection. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them up on their own layer so I don't have to mess with them later on. So I have both of them selected right now. I'm going to Command or Control J, which should
Didn't. Oh.
there we go. It brings them up on their own layer. And for some reason, my keyboard shortcuts are not working. My keyboard works fine, but when I try to do stuff in Photoshop, it's like, no, I don't want to play. I put them on their own layer so that I'm not messing with them when I do the selection that I'm going to be doing. So now I'm going to select the rocks. So we'll do, same thing. We'll just go to W, and I'll just select rocks, the whole thing. Let it do the selection for me. And it didn't do bad. I'm not worried about the bottom of the penguins being in there because I'm going to keep the one on top without a problem. So let's go ahead and I'm going to make that its own layer as well. So Command J. And you can see I now have rocks. So they're selected. The fastest way to do this for me without going into curves and levels and all that kind of garbage is Command or Control Shift A. And for those that don't know the keyboard shortcut, that's the camera raw filter.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the highlights down. Bring the shadows up a little bit just to keep the shadows going. And I'm going to add just a little bit of warmth to it just for fun. Just up at the temperature slider at the very top and hit OK. So we have before and after. And even if the penguins change, which they didn't really change hardly at all, I've got the top layer saved so that nothing can go wrong. Just that easy. I mean, how much simpler could it be? If you don't like what you did, okay, we'll just go ahead and go back into there again. Or if you think you did it too much, you can go to opacity, drop the opacity down, and lighten them up a little bit. So that's it. Let's take it to say 50%. There we go. That's at 50% now. It's enough there, or all the way back up to 100%, which might be a little bit too dark because of the white water behind there. The only way to deal with the white water would be when you originally bring your image in is to drop the highlights down so that the white in the water is not so bright, or paint the water out or clone it out with the blues above it, because you're never going to see that anyway. So you can see just a little bit on Dennis the penguin over here. We drop down just a little bit of change because it didn't do a perfect selection, but it did okay. And so if you're looking at it as a photograph, you're good. If you're going to make it into a poster, you want to make sure you get every single pixel all the way down the line, nice and perfect. So any questions on that one? That was like, went quicker than I thought it would.
So when you have that little bit of a fringe, it looks like on this guy there at the top, do you just brush that out or I mean, put a layer on it and brush that out, or am I just seeing things?
It depends on, a lot of it could be through the internet issue. Let's do Command Option Shift E, or Control Alt Shift E, which is the claw. And like up here, you can see it's got a little bit of squish to it. What I would
Mhm.
probably do is take the mixer brush, which works wonders, clean the brush so there's nothing there, and reach over and grab my Wacom tablet instead of my mouse, and just kind of clean up the edges a little bit, smashing them down with the mixer brush. And
Okay.
there's ways to get better selections, so that when you make a selection like a select subject, we went over this a couple weeks ago. Let's go to, say, the lasso tool. Nope. Go quick selection tool. If you go to select subject, if you do it on the device, it's much faster, but the quality sucks. If you do it on the cloud, it's slower, but you get a much better selection and less of the fringe or the edges like that. If I did the edges with the doing it on the device, I get more pixelation. And another thing to think about is I'm not using a super large image to start with. Let's go image size. I'm at 1200 pixels. So it's going to pixelate a little bit. If I was working with the original image full size, you'd see a much, much better detail in the selection there. So basically what you're seeing on the edge there is pixelation, because it is such a small image.
Okay.
If I was working at minimum 4,000 pixels or more, you wouldn't see that much pixelation along there.
Thanks. In your archives, do you have a program on the mixer brush?
I think I did one about a year ago on the mixer brush. The person to watch, I don't think she has any videos online though, take one of her classes, would be Sandra Pierce. She does the mixer brush like nobody's business. I mean, she's very good at it. And I don't know if Sherry Hammond uses mixer brush or how she does her paintings.
Well, doesn't she use Corel?
I think she does.
Yeah.
Dennis?
Yeah, she uses all Corel,
Okay.
but yeah.
Michelle Paisley does the mixer brush a lot. I've
Michelle
taken
Paisley
courses.
does.
Yeah, I've done courses from her.
There's a couple people out there that are really good and teach it as well. And they're very good at it. But instead of using Camera Raw, you can use the different, say, let's do curves. You can drop down, work with the highlights a little bit, work with the shadows a little bit, depending on how you want to do it. You can just play around with this. For me, Camera Raw was just so quick and easy to do. That's why I did that. It worked very well.
Seemed to muddy him up a little bit, you know, the color.
Maybe just a little bit, but also you look at the size of the file too. With the larger file, I'm sure we could do a little bit better with it. Plus, working in Camera Raw, you might be able to pull it off too. Do a selection in Camera Raw, and then work from there.
So you're not really picking the tonality of the rocks to adjust the coloring up.
You could a little bit. Let me get rid of the curves here. Let's see how far back we go. Nope. just start over in the beginning. And for those who don't know, in select, there's reselect, but it's not available. It's grayed out right now. So what I would do this time is just go ahead and
Do a new layer.
start over again with my selection. So let's go ahead and I'm going to use the quick selection tool instead of the object selection tool. And for some reason, I just went wackadoodle with it. Wow.
Jeez.
Let's try that again. So what I want to do is just select the rocks down here. So I'm just dragging my cursor over the rocks. And it works a lot better when you use your Wacom tablet. And I don't have to hold the shift key to get this to work. Because it's automatically in the upper left-hand corner, it's automatically selected the shift key or the plus. If I wanted a minus or take them out, then I could. And just a little bit right up here, we'll add a little bit. There we go. And so Command J, or you could do a color selection, which may not work as well. So select color range and just drag over this, but it's also going to select,
Yeah.
you can see it's doing the penguins as well.
Right.
So that's not going to work for me. But depending on what you want to do with
Well,
it.
with the since you've got the rocks selected, could you not just use a color picker and select the rocks and use that as a brush to darken, or no?
Well, there's a way to do that as well. So let's go ahead, get rid of that layer, and I'll work off of there. I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to hold the Option or Alt key when I do pick a new layer. And it brings up layer 1, and we'll call this Dodge Burn. And mode, I'm going to change to soft light or overlay, either one. And I'm going to fill it with 50% gray, which you don't have to do, but it's just the way I was taught to do it. And you can see my second layer now is 100% gray, but it's soft light or overlay. It doesn't matter which. And then I want to darken it down. So if you wanted to add a dark color of the rock, we'll go to B for brush, select the color, which is a little bit darker. And I'm going to take it down to about 10% and just paint over the top of it. And it's not doing a whole lot. So let's change it to black. Just by hitting the D key, it goes to black. And we're at 10% normal mode. And you can see that it's just darkening the areas that you want to darken. You can see the shadows there.
Mhm.
If you do it at, say, 50%, we'll do it in the middle here. You can see how it goes much faster to darken, but it also does way too much.
Right.
So I always work at, depending on what I'm working with, anywhere from, 5 to 10%. If I wanted to lighten up the white on the penguin, I would make sure that white is my primary color. Keyboard shortcut X after you, if you hit D for default, X to exchange colors. And this is at 10%. Nope, that's at 50%. I'm sorry, I lied to you. Let's do 10%. And just a hint across there.
Now, could you also do that to the whites in the water by selecting
You
the?
can. So if I hit back to the black color, do the whites, it's going to darken them a little bit, but it's also going to turn them a little bit gray.
Yeah, it's gonna gray them out. Okay.
Yeah, kind of like the dodge and burn, because those,
Yeah,
I don't think there's any detail in there.
yeah, probably.
Let's go ahead and zoom in and do a color picker. And we'll click on, there's a little bit of detail, but
Yeah,
not,
225, 220.
yeah, you got a little bit there.
Yeah.
So you can come up with a little bit. And again, brush it in. Default. And I just turned it up to 40% to see it really fast. And you can see turning these colors, instead of the bluish color, they turn to gray. So you got to be careful with that. But that's a fast way to do some retouching as well. Let's do 20%, and we'll go over to my portrait over here. That's wrong color. Let's go to white. And we can add shadow on one side by not coloring it in, or just take a little bit off there. And then if you want to, what you can do is go to a new layer, and we'll sample this orange here. And we're going to saturate it just a little bit more. And change it from normal to screen, which will get it brighter. Now this is at 20%. You can see the difference there if you want to make it just a little bit brighter. And on this side, we'll do the same thing at 10%. And all I have to do to change the settings from 20 to 10 is hit 1, and it goes, the opacity goes to 10%. If I hit 2, it goes to 20%. If I do color, you can see that it adds a whole lot of more color to it, more saturated look. And then if I wanted to add shadows, I would go up to multiply and at 10% bring it up there, and it should darken down the colors just a little bit. And when you do a multiply like that, you should also do screen next to it to make it stand out just a little bit more. And then we got eyes you can't see, so you want to paint in some eyes. I like a penguin with blue eyes. Let's go to the brush tool. We'll go to eyes blue, which is one of my presets. It may not work because it's so dark, but we'll try. Got a little bit of blue there. And then we'll go to one of my other presets, which is star 26. Might be too big. And it's already set for white for that. Let's see if we can pull it off. Opacity to 10%, but it's not showing up very well. So let's go ahead and so now we got a little bit of sparkle in his eye along with the blue color. But being it's so small, it's not gonna, it's pixelating pretty bad, so you can't really see. It's like this whole eye is only like 10 pixels wide, so. And then if judges don't like all the body parts on there that are different colors from the dirt, go to your healing brush. And you notice that I'm on layer 1, which is just a blank, pretty much a blank layer that I've added stuff to. if you're in the healing brush and you do that, make sure you check sample all layers at the very top. Now I have a blank layer here, and I can go through and just zap out all the dirt that's on this guy. You know how those judges are. They like clean penguins. They don't like dirty penguins. I'm not mentioning any names, but they might be watching today.
On the other hand, I would almost say, well, that's too clean.
Not reality.
But you see how fast just zapping those with the healing brush, how fast they go away. And if you want, you can fade your opacity of this layer. So you leave just a little bit of spotting for the judge that wants the not so clean look, let's say 50%. And that leaves just a little bit so that he's happy. But the other judge is going to complain about it. And now we're going to have a challenge, and they're going to fight over it. So any questions on that stuff that we've done? Let's take, I don't know if this is going to work or not because it's white. So let's go to B for brush, turn it back on, select the blue color on our soft round brush. And let's change it to color mode just for fun. Of course, I didn't do it very cleanly, but you can see I sprayed the penguin a little bit. But at 100%, that's a little bit too much. Let's go with, say, 40%, see how it goes. And you always want to start light and then build up. And that looks like garbage, but you could play with the different modes. Multiply probably won't work hardly at all. Let's do 10% on that. Yeah, you can barely. Multiply and screen, you need a little bit of color in there to be able to pull that off. So any other questions? Going once, going twice.
Did you move the guy in the back closer?
Could I move the guy in the back closer?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. You want to make me work, don't you? Fine. Let's delete those two layers. There we go. Back to the beginning.
Michael doesn't follow Dennis.
Ain't that the truth? So let's go to select subject. So I now have both of them selected. Let's go ahead and put them both on a new layer, Command J. And then what I will do is mask out the penguin on the right. So to do that, we'll hit B for brush. Make sure that you're in normal mode on your brush. Opacity 100% in black. And we'll just make him go away. And then what I will do is take my move tool, and actually what I'm doing is making a second penguin on that layer. So if I hold my shift key, I'll drag him straight across. Make him really close. And then for the other penguin down here,
That's Mel.
Or Dwight.
Let's see if this will work or not. Hang on.
Hmm.
I'm going to the object selection tool. And I'm selecting this penguin.
Hmm.
And I'm selecting this penguin. There we go. Penguin selected. Now I'm going to hit Shift Delete.
Oh,
Okay, you're supposed to be able to hit Shift Delete and it will delete the penguin and fill it in, which is not doing. So I'm trying different shortcuts. Okay, let's do it this way then. Let's go to Edit, Content Aware Fill,
oh, there you went.
There he goes.
and
Gone.
let me undo that real quick. I need to expand him, so select Modify, Expand. We're going to go 4 pixels. And now I will make them go away. So we'll do Edit, Content Aware Fill. And he is now gone.
Oh, wow. Whew.
And okie dokie. Come on. Come on. You can go faster than this computer. I took a lawnmower to my computer the other day and blew the dust out. And now it's running slow. I guess I should have left the dust in there. Wow.
Wow.
There we
Oh,
go.
there you go.
And then deselect.
Okay. Okay.
So we moved him closer, got rid of the other one, and everybody's happy now.
Yeah, cool.
Except for, I don't know if you can see this line right here. It's a little bit of a line going on.
Yeah.
So what I will do is take my healing brush, spot healing brush. Now it's gone. Ta-da! Okay, what other challenges do you want me to try and achieve in 30 seconds or less? You're killing me, Smalls. Okay, back to stop share.